Cabo.
Peace and blessings.
Welcome.
Welcome, everybody. I am IFA Jamini Ray.
And I am IFA Tegunshe.
And you are tuned into
the best,
the greatest
podcast
on the planet Earth.
Let's Talk IFA.
Blessings. Peace and blessings to everybody. Thank you again, as usual, for riding with us, for tuning in. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe to Let's Talk IFA, and even donate if you want to.
Yes,
you can send us a few dollars.
Those donations
help us to keep this mission going, to improve, to grow, and elevate the podcast. So,
yes.
Without further ado, today's topic.
What is today's topic?
It's kind of a follow-up from our previous podcast.
Wow.
So if you didn't check our previous podcast out, go back and check that out, or read in the 7 Heavenly Assignments.
Yes.
Today's topic is going to kind of be a continuation of that. Mm-hmm. So today we're going to be talking about Esentaye. Esentaye is stepping into the world. It is the very important divination, or IFA, that is done for a new baby, a new soul that has re-entered the physical realm of IFA. Mm-hmm. This is an important reading. It's a birth reading that's done after the baby is 3 days old, usually between 7 days or 9 days, somewhere. That's when it's done. And and this is an important divination to tell everyone, the community, the parents, the guides, and the priest, who this returning ancestor is. What is their Odu? What energy are they bringing back to the earth? What are their taboos, and even, to the point where what type of person they should marry, how many children they might have, their best career options, different advice and different spiritual advice and warnings, to basically give this child a roadmap and a spiritual GPS to follow.
A blueprint.
A blueprint
is important.
So they don't have to fumble and stumble too much through life and just kind of roll the dice, right? They don't have to just figure it out.
They have that direction that they can follow, and their parents can better raise them. Once that Esentaye divination is performed, the Baba, the father, the Yeye, the mother, have the understanding of the soul that they've brought into this physical realm. Now they are able to guide that child. They're able to raise that child to be a custodian of their community, to be someone of importance to their family and to their community and to their nation. And so the Esentaye goes into the naming ceremony, which is called Isomoloruko. So, as you said, if that child is a female, so 3 days after the birth, if the child is a female, then that's when the Esentaye divination is performed. If the child is a male, it's 9 days. It's the naming ceremony, the Somoloruko. Or some people say even Ikomojade ceremony is performed. And so as we talked about the Ori and the 7 assignments, that whole reincarnation process, so then when that soul comes into the world, it crosses that last river. This is the process we begin with the Esentaye. Now we want to re-reveal that child's destiny on earth. And so just as that soul went to that Babalawo and Orun to get the divination, and when they crossed those 3 rivers, and the last river they crossed, they forgot everything.
Yeah, Jay, the blood.
The blood. They forgot everything that they asked for, everything that was done for them in heaven. So now that they landed here on the physical realm, Ile-Aye, now there's a Babalawo in Ile-Aye that the parents must take this child to, so that everything that was revealed in Orun can be re-revealed here on earth for that child. And that begins the child's journey into the physical realm. Knowing their taboos is very, very important, because the air war is what gives that child long life. Understanding the child's path in life, the child's professions, is very important, because if you don't know your profession in life, you're going to be just like we see people now. They go to college, whatever they desire or whatever their emotion say to go to college for, they move on that, but they don't even know if that's destined for them.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people out here that's kind of like just trying to figure out what they supposed to be doing or figure out their profession, and they make that decision based off of passion or that feeling or that emotion. But that emotion could be off.
It may not line up with what's actually in their destiny to do. Because a lot of times, the person, male or female, they might pursue and be into a certain field or career and be trying to figure out, I'm putting all this work in and doing all this hard labor and doing all this hard work, but I'm not getting anywhere. And it's because they're in the wrong profession. You are off track of your destiny when you're doing the wrong profession. And when you're off track of your destiny, that's a form of sickness. That's a form of arun, of sickness. Sickness is not all just physical. But, if you don't have that guide and that roadmap to help you to know what general area and field that you're supposed to be in, it creates a lot of wasted time. It can lead to a lot of frustration and depression and anger and confusion. And in some cases, if, depending on the job or the career that the person chooses, it could end in premature death. Yeah. That's a thing. Like, for instance, one of my twins, Kehinde, he's almost Shango. And one of his taboos, you know how you have the people that do this for a living, they're like, some of them are just enthusiasts or the scientists, the storm chasers. They get into the truck and they camp out where the tornadoes are going to be, and they wait for them, and then they drive, get as close as they can to them, and get the video, set out the cameras
they
to
had
get
a
all
movie
the
out about
the
that.
sign.
Twisters.
So my son, that's his taboo. He could never. He can't do that.
Storm.
He can't chase no storm.
Yeah,
because it's not gonna go well for him.
But that translates into also you just can't be out there just chasing anything.
Right.
But your IFA is very important to let you know what you should be.
That particular profession is a no-no for him.
Right. Oh, that particular profession.
He cannot be a storm chaser.
Wow.
He can't do that because that would probably lead to him not being here.
Yeah, it'll
that
take
probably
him,
everybody
will pull him and suck
exactly.
him in.
He's almost Shango, so he can't do that profession. So it's a lot of things. Arabelle Boybon has it's a movie, and I cannot. Is it Akose Jaye? It might be Akose Jaye. And I might be wrong, but it's one of his movies. I'm gonna put it in the link. I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna put it post it under this video link on YouTube. But it's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, go check it out.
I've seen it.
Yeah, and I think it's subtitled, but it demonstrates some of the things of what we're talking about, how a lot of people at home in Yoruba land and Africa in general have gotten away from their culture.
Yeah.
And it shows the difficulties in life that the kids and the parents and the family members can have by either they don't get the Esentaye done because they don't believe in it anymore or whatever, or in one case in the movie, they did get it done. It was like some older people when the baby was born, there was some elders that were still in the family that understood
the tradition,
right?
Practice.
But
yes.
when the young lady grew up and got age of ready to marry, I think these elders they kind of like were older and they weren't really around. It was up to the parents to remember, and the parents didn't remember. So this one young lady, it was a couple of things. One child, there was a baby, and they didn't. I don't think they did the reading. They didn't do the Esentaye, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with this baby. That the baby was always crying and always fussy and just always like, I think the baby was sick a lot and just always crying, right? And come to find out, so that eventually they go to IFA, or no, they did do it, but they did it and they forgot. So then the elder said, "What's wrong with y'all? Like, don't y'all remember you're not supposed to be, this baby is a child of Oshun. You're not supposed to bathe the baby in hot water." So they were bathing the baby in hot water, messing the baby up.
That was the air wall.
It was another one.
The baby was crying out.
Baby was crying and just like irritable all the time, and just the baby won't right. And there was another instance where the Babalao told them, it was a little baby girl, told them, they said when it's time for her to get married, that she cannot have a loud celebration. And they forgot. So
they did it up.
She was pregnant. She was getting married at the wedding. They had the band out there. They had the drumming. They had everybody. It was all this noise. And then she basically, I don't want to give away the whole movie, but y'all check it out for yourself. And then let's just say it didn't go well.
So that's the importance of following your taboo. That's the importance of
and getting the reading in the first place.
And getting the Esentaye divination. One of the main things is knowing the taboo of the child.
The taboo of your child. It's your responsibility, as the parent. And when they don't take heed, the consequences can be quite.
Yeah, it can be extreme.
It can be extreme. It can lead up to premature death, and sometimes it just leads to a wretched life.
And the child is always sick, and the child is always, and the parents don't have a clue because they don't follow the traditions anymore. They forgot their traditions, and so we're starting to see now a lot of our people are coming back into the traditions, especially, I always tell people, when you get your divinations done, if you got children, make sure you get your children's divination done. If the child is still of age where you can have the Esentaye divination done, please get the Esentaye divination done so that you can know how to raise your child. You can know what to put the child into. You can know the child's taboos. You can know all of these things so that your child can have a healthy life as it grows. Esentaye is very, very important in our culture, and we don't want to lose these traditional practices because it helps us to have a healthy life. It helps us to live a healthy life. And the naming ceremony. So
before we go into that, hold that thought. In addition to what the Bible was just saying, it also helps you as a parent to deal with your child and understand your child, because
what's going on with them.
Because their personality, their inclinations, their arisha, because sometimes, some children can be difficult, and that can go, there are a lot of different levels to that. when I say difficult, I mean like there are some children out here that are not normal.
Emere.
They're very exceptional children. They could be kleptomaniacs or pyromaniacs, or they like weird stuff going on, or certain things about their personality, and you trying to, if you know, IFA would tell you about these things and it'll help you deal with your child. If you know your child is Omo Eshu and they have inclinations towards certain things, then you know more how to deal with them, help to understand your child and relate to them better and raise them better. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that before you went into
and speaking on ceremony. And speaking on because there's different classes of that these children belong to, because some children are what they call emere children. You don't even know if your child is a strong egbe child,
right?
Or emere falls under that category.
Banny.
And if your child is stealing, it could be it's a spiritual connection to that, because that child could be taken to pay a debt to their egbe member that they owe on the other side. So they can be stealing money, they can be stealing food, they can be stealing snacks. I know of a child, they were sleeping with snacks in their bed a lot. And it was like, I'm like, why are they sleeping with snacks? It's like they giving it to their egg bay. They giving it to their heavenly peers. So when you see these things that you think is strange, and your child is doing some strange
behaviors,
things, you gotta. This is why you get the divination, the Esentaye, so that you will know, like, oh, my child is a strong child of egg bay. And so they have to appease their egg bay a lot, because if they don't, the egg bay, can do some tricky, slick things through that child, and you trying to figure out what's going on. My child is bad. I got to take him. I got to put him on. Many people don't even know. They put their child on Ritalin and all of these drugs and over-the-counter prescriptions and all of this stuff. And they don't, because they think their child is acting strange. And it's a lot of times you find out a spiritual connection to it.
Yeah,
so go to IFA to find out how to solve and to look deeper into that child's situation. Because, some children, you can't curse. You can't curse at them. You can't beat them.
Talk to them a certain way, yep.
Ibejis, you can't beat no Ibeji.
I don't mind. I got a few whippings, but...
but I'm just...
But you know what, though? The IFA brought that up a couple of times during divination as I was raising them, and kind of like, I won't say chastised me, but kind of like slapped my hand a little bit and told me that, it's certain things that you need to stop doing with the twins, and I had to readjust.
You had to figure out another way of punishment if they act up.
If I did bring that up a couple of times.
It's almost like, it's almost like a taboo. You can't put your hand.
You can't mistreat them. The spirits
like
are too strong. They can bring misfortune to the household, and sometimes if they'll leave.
Yeah,
the egg babe will call. They'll be like, "I'd rather not. I'd rather
go here. And you abusing me. I'm going back home.
They'll go back home.
And so we have to really know our children. I always tell young people, young ladies, just be very careful who you have, children, and how you having these children, and the conditions and the person you having these children from. Because there's a lot of young ladies out there with babies and they ain't got no husbands. They ain't got no Esentaye divinations. They just out there, and a lot of times, when the woman is pregnant, the woman has to be very, very careful. She has to be under protection.
Oh, yeah.
She needs to go at least once a month, and get a divination and make ebal for the protection of her and that child that she's carrying. But the woman has to always also be surrounded by happiness and joy, because if she gets emotional or temperamental, she can transfer all of that emotion and temperament to the baby.
Into the baby.
So...
In traditional Yoruba, there's a lot of different things that that they do when the mother is pregnant. For instance, I know one is, a lot of times they'll keep a safety pin on their clothes somewhere, or a small piece of red cloth, and also going out at a certain time, like 1 o'clock, like that, between at 12 and 1,
right,
12:30 and 1:30 is kind of a no-no, because there's certain spirits that are out at that time that can attach themselves to the mother or the child, and that can cause, harmful situations if the mother is not careful, when she goes out and where she goes, and, those type of things.
Yeah, that's why divination, we do perform divination once a month for pregnant women, and we make the proper airball, whatever akoshe medicine needs to be made, whatever beads or whatever needs to be around them to protect them, those things are done. There are certain taboos for women who are pregnant, like being out late at night.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing because spirits roam.
Yeah.
And spirits love to see a fresh, you know what I mean? A fresh child or a woman that's pregnant, so they can attach themselves. So it's a taboo for women to be out late at night, roaming the street, out partying late, and they pregnant. Those are not things you should be doing when you're pregnant with a woman. So now we get to the part of, so you done had the Esentaye divination done, and that's a process in itself where the woman does, or the mother and the father takes the child to a babalawo, and IFA is cast for that child to see that child's blueprint in life through their Odu IFA, and to see the child's Ori, to see if this child has a good head or Ori Buburu, a bad head. But IFA is always there. So if the child, let's say the child picked a bad head, came to the earth with a bad head, you can still go to IFA. IFA can still fix the destiny of that child. But it's important that the parents take that child. So the next step would be the Ikomojade, which the child is presented to the community. And that's when the whole community comes together to support the mother and father and to celebrate the new child that has come into the world, right? There's drumming. There's almost like a celebration, almost like a festival, a big celebration. And those who come to that Ikomojade ceremony, all of the elders and, people in that community, when you come to that ceremony, you are making an oath that you will look out for this child. You will make sure that this child is raised correctly. The child becomes not only a child of the mother and father, but it becomes a child of the community. It becomes a child of the community. And so doing that Ikomojade, if it's a male child, then the women dance with the child first. The women, all of the women line up on one side. The men line up on the other side. And the drumming and the singing begin. And everyone gets to dance with that child. They give the child gifts. They do iwure for the child. Prayers for the child. And they make that oath that they'll be there to help raise that child. That's very important.
And one of the ways that the community supports the child and does that is by doing the Esentaye is the key to this whole thing, because that lets you know who this child is and even their name, right? With the naming ceremony, that's their name from a room, from heaven, that reminds them why they're here, and what they're supposed to do and what they're not supposed to do. And the community will know the Odu maybe, or they'll know the story, but in the taboos and the spiritual advice for this child, everybody will know, oh, this is whatever, Ogun Labi. And he came here to, he's supposed to deal with food or farming, or he's supposed to do something with Ogun, like be a blacksmith or an engineer or something. So people will kind of, you have that in mind. Everybody knows the child's blueprint.
Right. The whole community.
The whole community kind of knows their blueprint, which kind of helps to steer this child in the right direction. If this child has a taboo that they shouldn't go swimming, if somebody see him near water, they're going to snatch him up. Just
everybody,
whatever. The
whole community knows. I don't know. Nowadays, people are kind of funny with that. You know how people are today. People don't want, it's we got to
say something about somebody else's kids. Yeah, it might be a fight.
Yeah, we need to get over that, because you got to have more eyes on these children nowadays. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the culture needs to come back.
Yeah.
Not just the reading and having Orisha, but how does the community operate after the reading? Like, those are the things that we
Takes
have
a community to raise the child.
Reinstitute, yeah.
And Hillary Clinton didn't make that up. I'm gonna let everybody know. That came from our ancestors.
I say.
It takes a village to raise a child. Hillary didn't come up with that.
Not Hillary.
She got it from the Africans.
Of course. Of course, it's a communal way of life, and we support each other. It's just like now where, you could tell your child something 1,000,000 times, and then somebody else or uncle or somebody else in the community will tell them, and they get it. Like, I've been telling you this for 10 years.
Yeah.
They need that other
person to reinforce as a reinforcement. The parents need that. The parents
need a break.
Yeah.
And the backup. That's the reinforcements and the backup to, the parents. Because sometimes, children get tired of their parents and parents get tired of their children.
Yeah.
So it's
like the community is there to
right
to help the parents with that load that they're carrying. And so Ikomojade basically means the child, basically the first day the baby leaves home. That's what Ikomojade. The first day the baby leaves home. And so what that means is we say earth is a marketplace, heaven is our home. So Ikomojade is like the child coming out of the two things. The child coming from Orun into Aye. And then the child coming out of the parents' home into the community. Into the community is that's what that means. The first day the child leaves home, Ikomojade. And then that song they sang is such a beautiful song that we sang. Kamama, kamama, oh, kamama, kamama, oh. That's the song that is sung when we bringing the child out from the home, the parents' home, into the community. Ikomojade. So that's the process of the naming ceremony. Esentaye. It's a male child, they do the naming ceremony on the 9th day. If it's a female child, they do the naming ceremony on the 7th day. And then they go right into the Ikomojade.
So during the Esentaye, of course, they find out the name. And then during the naming ceremony, the name is personalized to the child through different condiments and rituals and celebration. So it's a beautiful culture because it brings people together in positivity and joy and celebration, behind the birth of this child. Children are wealth in African culture. They're not a burden. Children are wealth.
Yeah, and then the condiments are very important. There are certain condiments And usually you might see this done two ways. When the condiments is given to the child. One way is where all of the priests in the community come together, and all of the priests will go inside the home of the parents and do the Iwure prayers and give the child those condiments. Each one of those condiments represent that the child will. So, for example, we'll give the child, let's say we'll give the child cola nut. We'll give the child obiabata. Obiabata represents what? Overcoming enemies.
I say,
right?
Averting negativity.
Right. And then we'll give the child some orogbo so that the child can have
longevity.
We give the child atare, pepper, so that the child can endure the bitterness or the hotness or the temperament that the world has, so that the child can persevere through the bitterness that the world throws at us. Oyin, honey, so that the child can experience the sweetness of life.
Life can be sweet.
Life can be sweet. That's the opposite of the bitterness. Then we have iyo. We have salt. They give the child salt so that the child can have wealth, or even that the child can experience the different flavors of life.
I say.
Epa. Epa is oil, palm oil. And we know that with oil makes everything smooth. When you got like a rusty chain on a bike, you put some oil on it, and the bike starts to go smoothly. So we give the child oil, palm oil, epa, so that the child can go through life with, smoothness. It can, with ease, So these condiments represent different things and different elements of life. And so the child is given those. And so sometimes that ceremony is done where the condiments are out on the table and the whole community is around. And the whole community participates in sharing with that child some of those condiments as well. So it kind of depends on the officiating priest.
Right.
That say, the priest might do it amongst the priest in the community, or the priest might have the whole community participate in that. And that's very important because these are the ashes that are given to the child so that the child can get through. And when the child is challenged in life, those condiments, the ashe of those condiments will help that child to get through whatever challenges that are thrown at this child.
Benny.
And so that is the Esentaye process.
Another big one, some of the spiritual advice that comes out of Esentaye. I mean, this is for adults too, but it's really important for the babies and for children, is colors. What colors they should wear, and what colors they should not wear. More importantly, the ones that they should not wear. Because that, if everyone knows that everything has a frequency and a vibration. Colors, notes, letters, numbers, everything is vibration and frequency. So, some children should not wear all red. They shouldn't wear like a red cap on their head. All these things have spiritual significance. These things can increase the positive blessings in one's life or actually diminish the blessings in one's life. And like I said, it can be very severe depending on the energy that's bringing that spiritual advice or that error or that taboo. It can actually shorten one's lifespan if one continues to wear the wrong colors continuously. And
then I get a lot of people ask, well, can I still get my child's Esentaye done, especially if they like over 7? I've had parents ask if their child that was 14 if they can still get Esentaye. By that time, I always say you might as well get your child a Hannah B5 because these things can be revealed.
Right.
You know, there's always, if you miss out on having a naming ceremony for your child and your child is in their teens, you know, they're going through that period of puberty. That is also a good time for that child or that young man or young girl to receive their hand of Ifa.
Benny.
That's a perfect time because after that, by the time they hit 21, if they have no type of spiritual blueprint or no type of blueprint they can go by, it's going to be a little tough.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little tough. And so it's always wise to, like my mother, she got myself and my sister initiated when we were young. When we hit that 13, 14 mark of puberty, my yaya was like, I'm getting y'all initiated. You know what I mean? When I know them hormones was kicking in, y'all not about to be acting up around here. Y'all getting initiated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we got initiated at those at that age, which gave some type of control and gave us a blueprint to follow.
Benny.
You know what I mean? So it's very important to make sure that you get all of your children's spiritual that roadmap in order at a young age.
It's important.
It's important.
It's really important. You know, some men or women, you know, if I might say, like especially a lot of times for women, for a girl, for a female, if I might say, in order for you to have a stable life, you have to have your IFA, but your husband or your mate has to have IFA
as well.
And and I've seen it. It's not just IFA is not just talking. Like I've seen it where people go away from that and they don't listen, and it never ends well. You know,
it never ends well. So this message, we send this message out to all of the parents. Please, make sure. Just don't go through this journey of this spiritual journey and you don't make sure that your children are on their spiritual path as well. Benny. It's not fair. It is not fair for you to continually get your divinations and don't get any divinations for your children. It don't make any sense. Because this thing is about passing it on to your children. So as you're getting your divinations done, don't forget about your children you have. Because they need to know their blueprint and their roadmap in life as well.
Benny. So yeah, that's in a nutshell, that is what Esentaye is. And also the naming ceremony that usually follows that. Like the Baba said, generally when the woman is pregnant, there will also be a divination done that gives preliminary information before the birth. There's rituals and ebo done to make sure that the child gets here safely.
Sure.
Then when the child gets here, it's finally here. Esentaye is done, naming ceremony. A lot of times, dafa and sacrifice has to be done in order for the woman to get pregnant. So it's
the right time.
Right.
You know?
There's Odu is full of stories of women that had a really hard time getting pregnant, or they get pregnant and then they have multiple miscarriages or stillbirths, or what we call Abiku. Spirit of, and that's another important reason for the divination when the mother is pregnant and also when the baby is born. Because if the child is Abiku, which is a particular type of spirit that is related to Egbe, that has made a pact with his friends or her friends to say, I'm going to come into the world, but I'm not going to stay long. I'm going to come right back.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just going to check it out.
I'm just going to check it out. I'm coming right back
home.
Yeah. I'm just going,
just going to peek in a little bit,
so,
and then I'll be back.
So we can identify the IBQ children and do something about it to make them not go. So that child does not die early and prematurely. All these things can be determined and corrected and resolved through IFA, through divination, through ritual, sacrifice, ebo, etutu, ipese, whatever the ritual or sacrifice is, IFA will tell us what direction to go to handle it. So, again, we love y'all. Thank you so much. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. I am Awo Ifa Jimini Ray.
I am Awo Ifa Tegunshe.
And you are tuned in to
the best,
the greatest
podcast
on the planet Earth. Let's talk IFA.
Ashe, Odabo,
Ashe, wa, Odabo, Ireo, Akwato, Asodi Wode Wofun.
Ashe.
Goodbye for now. Peace and blessings.
Peace.
Odabo. Ashe, wa.
Ashe.